Vladimir Tarasenko in 2020, 2021. I hate saying that. That's the worst. My goodness, just the 2021 season. That sounds even more confusing. Okay, he had himself 14 points in 24 games played because he was sidelined for a good chunk of the season. Because he was also sidelined a good chunk of last season too, the season before this, so 2019-2020, there was a lot of doubt going on as to whether or not Vladimir Tarasenko was really a player that was just up on a really unlucky horse, or if he just completely fell off entirely. Well, in 2021-2022, there you go, that's a lot easier to say, my goodness, he's come out here with a lot more to insinuate the idea that the previous season's worth of production was just kind of a product of circumstance and not a product of him declining in general. This season, in 17 games played, Vladimir Tarasenko has gone out there with 7 goals, 7 assists for 14 total points. He had 14 points in 24 games last year. This year, he is under a point per game with 17 games, and it's a pretty even stat line as well. 7 goals, 7 assists, you love to see it. He is bouncing back and playing like the $7.5 million AAV player that he is. However, there still are the trade rumors that brought themselves up in the offseason and that still somewhat persist today. The Blues are a good team in the NHL standings, so this is a team that definitely is benefiting from the quality of play that Vladimir Tarasenko was laying out there, but with the displeasures of being a St. Louis Blue and with the trade rumors that we had, Vladimir Tarasenko's price is a lot more valuable today than it had been a few months in the past. Which is why we have an NBC article over here talking about how a lot of teams should regret not making a bigger trade push for Vladimir Tarasenko. Now, just to be clear here, this is kind of like an investment, where you see something like GameStop or Dogecoin or whatever go up to the moon, 1,000% gains, and you say, darn it, should have bought it when it was cheap. It's easy to go out there and regret your inaction with the benefit of hindsight, and that's kind of what we're seeing here with Vladimir Tarasenko. In the offseason, nobody really knew how good this guy actually was, and as a result, nobody really wanted to pay the price that the St. Louis Blues had for this guy, which is kind of biting everybody in the behind today when you realize, hey, if you paid that price back in the summer, and he played the way he's playing today with your team, maybe you would have had a very, very successful trade. But of course, that isn't always the case. We have ourselves the article which we're going to go over and highlight because it kind of brings up the idea of the teams that were involved that could have gone out there and got Tarasenko and what exactly they missed on by not taking the chance on this player. But before we get into any of that, we have a big word from our sponsor of today's video. I know we said last time that we had breaking news, but this time it is actually breaking news. Manscaped is getting on with their Black Friday and Cyber Monday sale, which will give you the opportunity to get everything at 25% off and with free shipping. The sale's going on the 22nd till the 29th. Get yourself the Performance Package 4.0, which includes the Lawnmower 4.0, the Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, boxers, a travel kit, and liquid formulations. You're probably sick of hearing about the lawnmower, but there's a reason we're talking about it. It's waterproof, it's got advanced skin-safe technology to help reduce cuts and nicks. It's the best hair down there trimmer on the market. Trust me, man, the Lawnmower 4.0 is super helpful, and with the Black Friday Cyber Monday sale going on, you got nothing to lose by trying it out. Use discount code LEGOROCKS at checkout to let them know I sent you your way. This 25% off and free shipping deal only lasts until the 29th, which will be Cyber Monday. So go out there, take advantage of this, use code LEGOROCKS, and bless yourself with Manscaped. So this article by Adam Gretz talks about how teams should regret not making a bigger push for Tarasenko. Now, again, this is with the benefit of hindsight. Back then, it was a lot more understandable to see why a team would be reluctant to take on Tarasenko and his $7.5 million AAV, but with the way things have gone out right now, it's easy to say, yeah, nah, he's great. You probably should have paid that price. The Blues seemed willing to at least consider honoring the trade request that Tarasenko had, and even made him available to the Seattle Kraken in the expansion draft, where they could have potentially lost him for nothing, and in the process shed the remaining 2 years of his contract and salary cap hit. So right away, there's a team to kick off the conversation. The Seattle Kraken had a chance of getting Tarasenko for free. For freaking free, dude! And they said no. They took Vince Dunn instead, who admittedly is a very good player in his own right. He is younger, he is cheaper, he is a defenseman. He is a good player, but The Seattle Kraken have a few problems of their own, and one of them comes in the form of scoring goals. They can't really do that all too well. So, a guy like Tarasenko, while he is a point-per-game player right now, would have been, in theory, a very good addition to this team. If you take a look at their strengths and their weaknesses, hey, they can't score goals. Tarasenko, he can score goals. He's got 7 goals in 17 games. If you do the math on that, 7 divided by 17 multiplied out by 82, he's on pace for a 30-goal year. So, yeah, that's pretty good, Seattle. You missed out on that. It sucks that you didn't know that he would be this good. It sucks that you were a lot more reluctant to take on salary, as the GM, Ron Francis, was very adamant in making clear throughout the rest of the expansion draft in their picks. But it is unfortunate that you missed out on a player like this that has been so good for the Blues for nothing. You could have gotten him for nothing, dude. Yikes. The article on NBC goes over why exactly teams were super reluctant to go after Tarasenko, the 3 different surgeries, and how his contract was expensive, how it still is expensive, and how he's got all this protection on the contract too. But there still was a Tarasenko that was seemingly available for a fraction of what he would have ordinarily been available for under ideal circumstances. There was some risk, but an enormous reward too. Even though the Seattle Kraken missed out on Tarasenko for free, they weren't the only team that potentially missed out on Tarasenko in general. He reportedly gave the Blues a 10-team trade list, and it was believed to include teams like the Flyers, the Islanders and the Golden Knights, the Rangers, the Bruins, and more. Quite a few of those teams could use another top-line goal scorer right now. This is where we talk about the New York Islanders, who lost out on the services of Jordan Eberle, and they added on Zach Parise, who hasn't really been producing any goals lately. The Islanders seem like they would have been a perfect fit. And it's not like Tarasenko would have trouble fitting in with a defensive-minded hockey team either, because he did exactly that for a Blues team that won a Stanley Cup just a few years ago, where he played a massive role offensively. The Islanders right now in the NHL standings are dead last in a super competitive Metro division, and they have 31 goals for in 14 games. Now, I know they only played their very first home game the other night. It took a long time for them to get accustomed to being at home. They went almost a full quarter of the year without playing a home game. That's definitely going to take a toll on you, but still, this team is struggling. They can't score any goals. Vladimir Tarasenko, cut and paste. There you go, a few more goals on your team for sure. Should the Islanders regret not going after him? I mean, with hindsight, it's easy to say why, but again, the concerns. It was difficult to justify trading for him with the circumstances that presented itself about that situation. Really, though, any of the teams on Tarasenko's trade list should have been in play. The Flyers are struggling offensively, the Bruins remain a one-line team, and the Rangers are currently 23rd in goals per game while still having close to $9 million in salary cap space and facing major pressure to win right now. This article, by the way, was published on November 15th, so it was from a few days ago. These stats might not be exactly accurate. Could you imagine, though, having freaking Artemi Panarin and Tarasenko on the same line? The odd part is, it probably could have happened had the Rangers just decided, okay, let's do it. Let's make a trade. We have enough prospects and enough picks and enough roster players like Pavel Buchnevich, whom they did trade to the St. Louis Blues for Sammy Blais. They've got talent. They still got Kravtsov as well. Tarasenko and Panarin actually played together on, that World Junior team back after they got drafted. Or, excuse me, Panarin didn't get drafted. Tarasenko did. There you go. Yeah, 2010, 2011, the top Russian players, Kuznetsov, Tarasenko, and Panarin was on that squad as well. There was an opportunity here to reunite Tarasenko and Panarin, and now, with everything coming out about how well Tarasenko has done, and the cap hit too, kind of feels bad for New York, doesn't it? Feels bad for a lot of these teams. Seattle, New York, of course, Boston, Philly, and the Islanders also come into the mix as well. But seriously, hindsight is a B. And I say B because I don't want to curse on my YouTube channel over here, but it is one of those real big, darn it, moments where you see this guy explode on the score sheet after the season begins, and you think to yourself, man, we could have had him for a lot cheaper than what he's worth right now. Talk to me in the comments if you're a fan of the Kraken or the Flyers or the Bruins or the Rangers or the Islanders, and whether or not you regret not taking Vladimir Tarasenko for whatever price it was that would have been laid out. If you were to make that trade today, what would be the most you would give up for this guy? Because apparently he still does want out, and we will probably see a Tarasenko trade sometime in the next few months. But in general, talk to me in the comments. What do you think? I hope you enjoyed this video. Check out Manscaped because they've got this huge sale going on. Use code LEGOROCKS, and Bye.